up before the noise could find me. The room's still wearing shades of blue. A cup is waiting on the counter like it already knows what to do. The floor is cool beneath my footsteps. The window hums a silver line. Nothing brilliant, nothing final, just a softer way to start this time. If today feels only one breath easier, if my shoulders drop an inch or two, that is more than enough of a reason to call this morning something good. I do not need a shining answer, I do not need to outrun the dark. Just a little less weight in the doorway, just a little more room in my heart. The kettle sings without a warning. Steam draws ghosts against the air. I watch them vanish without panic. Maybe I can learn from there. The clock can keep its steady pressure. The world can ask for what it will. For now I'm here with a quiet table and the rarest kind of skill. To begin without a grand performance, to be gentle and still move through. If today feels only one breath easier, that is already something true. I do not need a shining answer, I do not need to outrun the dark. Just a little less weight in the doorway, just a little more room in my heart. Yesterday can keep its weather, I don't have to wear it now. There is light across the dishes, there is calm inside somehow. Not a miracle, not a turning, not a song that solves it all. Just a mind that wakes up lighter and a softer place to fall. If today feels only one breath easier, if my chest unknots a little too, that is more than enough of a reason to believe this day can carry through. I do not need a shining answer, I do not need to outrun the dark. Just a little less weight in the doorway, just a little more room in my heart. A little lighter when I open, a little lighter when I move. And for this morning, that is plenty, that is all I need to prove. The dark loosens slowly from the ceiling, blue turning thin along the wall. The street outside is not decided if it is ready yet at all. Still the day arrives without hurrying, no grand announcement in the air, just the quiet proof of something faithful, showing up because it's there. Steady as the morning comes, light finds the edges one by one. No trumpet sound, no race to run, still it comes, steady as the morning comes. You may not feel the distance changing, you may not hear the old gears move, But even now, beneath the silence, small things are making room for you. The branch outside the kitchen window holds one bird, then lets it fly. Nothing in the room is rushing. Still the sky becomes the sky, steady as the morning comes. Light finds the edges one by one. No sudden turn, no blazing sun. Still it comes, steady as the morning comes. There are days that do not glitter, days that barely raise their voice. But the road is not only movement. Sometimes staying soft is choice. And every step you thought was nothing, every inch you nearly missed, life somewhere beneath your breathing, like warmth returning to your wrists. So let the kettle hum its patience, let the floorboards creak below. Let this hour be plain and honest. That is still the way to grow, steady as the morning comes. Light finds the edges one by one. No need to force what will become. Still it comes, steady as the morning comes. And you too, in your own time, in your own shape, are moving on, steady as the morning comes. Even when the night feels long, the world keeps leaning into dawn, and you do too, more than you knew. Steady as the morning comes. There are dishes by the sink still waiting, a chair pulled back, a half-read page. Morning lays its quiet hand here on this unfinished little stage. I have worn my own impatience like a coat I could not set aside, measured myself against a version that never once had to be alive. But this is enough for now, this breath, this room, this honest skin. Not the final shape of who I'll be, still something good to live within. This is enough for now, not complete but not undone. A heart still learning how to open, can already hold the sun. Plants lean slightly toward the window, not asking if they've grown enough. They take the light in slow portions, they do not make a show of trust. I think there's something in that silence, something wiser than my doubt. How becoming does not always need a banner to come out. This is enough for now, this voice, this pace, these careful hands. Not every season has to bloom to know exactly where it stands. This is enough for now, a simple one. I can be a work in motion and still be worthy as I come. I do not need to call it failure just because the edges show. There is value in the middle, in the not yet, in the slow. Even the cup beside the kettle with its small and weathered chip still holds warmth without apology, still belongs here at my lips. So I will leave some space unpolished, let the morning see me plain. Not a problem to be tightened, not a name to earn again. This is enough for now, this breath, this room, this honest skin. Not the final shape of who I'll be, still something good to live within. This is enough for now, not complete but not undone. A heart still learning how to open, can already hold the sun. And if tomorrow asks for more of me, I'll meet it when it's near. But today I do not have to disappear to matter here. The morning doesn't ask for fireworks, it opens one blind at a time. A pale gold line across the countertop, a reason small enough to trust. I used to think the day was waiting for some grand version of my name. But maybe all that really matters is that I rose and came this way. One gentle step ahead, that is how the future starts. Not with a shout, not all at once, just a quiet yes inside the heart. One gentle step ahead, a little closer than before. The door does not need to swing wide open to become an open door. The shoelace knot, the turning kettle, the keys beside the folded note. These tiny things have their own language, a kind of progress soft and close. No mountain moves inside an instant, no branch bursts out across the sky, but roots keep working under daylight, even when the ground looks still and dry. One gentle step ahead, that is how the future starts. Not with a blaze across the ceiling, just a steady hand upon the dark. One gentle step ahead, a little truer than before. The road is made by humble motions, by what we choose this morning for. I do not need to change my whole life before the second cup is gone. I only need to lean toward better, in a way my breath can carry on. There is a kindness in beginning, without demanding something grand. A softer rhythm, less dramatic, still enough to shift the land. shows the smallest hinge can move a doorway, the smallest stream can shape a stone. One gentle step ahead, a little farther than before. And years from now I may look back and know what all these mornings were for. So let today be quiet progress, a page half turned, a window raised. The future does not always enter. Sometimes it's built in tender ways. The wind will lift a little color onto the corners of the room. Nothing loud, just quiet yellow, touching the table, touching the spoon. The air still holds the shape of dreaming. The house has not begun to race, but somewhere in this ordinary hour, a softer thought has found its place. A brighter way to start can be a very small thing, the kind that barely makes a sound, but changes how the day will sing. A brighter way to start, a loosened hand, an easier view. Not everything has turned to light, but something kind is breaking through. The kettle warms in patient circles, a cup waits near the folded page. Outside, the street is slowly waking without a need to prove its name. I used to think that hope was dramatic, a sweeping sky, a perfect sign. But maybe it is more familiar, a calmer pulse, a steadier mind. A brighter way to start can be a chair pulled toward the sun, a breath that does not brace for impact, a feeling that the day's not won by running. A brighter way to start can be one thought that tilts the frame, just enough to let more mercy enter all the usual things. The sink is full, the list is longer. The world will ask for what it asks. Still I can meet it from a kinder angle. Still I can wear a lighter mask. No, not a mask, more like a window open slightly in the chest, where some fresh air can move between the pressure and the rest. A brighter way to start does not erase the weight I know. It only gives my heart a better and more forgiving place to go. A brighter way to start, and suddenly the room feels wide. Not because my life is flawless, but because I've softened how I stand inside. So let this morning stay unhurried, let small good things be seen and heard. A brighter way can begin quietly with one warm cup, with one clear word.
windows cracked just wide enough to let the cooler morning in. Curtains drift like quiet questions, and something in me starts to listen. The rooftops wear a softer outline, the wires hum low above the street. Nothing huge has changed around me, still the air feels new to breathe. The sky feels possible today, wider than the thoughts I wore. Like there's more above these buildings than I could really see before. The sky feels possible today, not because it promised much, just because it held its distance and still felt close enough to trust. A bus sighs at the corner slowly, someone rolls a shop door high. Pigeons live without much warning, like scraps of paper learning sky. I've had mornings small as pockets, mornings tied around the ribs, but this one leaves a little space between the world and what it is. The sky feels possible today, blue stretched thin and silver clear, like the future doesn't need to shout to let me know that it is here. The sky feels possible today, open in a quiet way. Maybe that is all I needed, to step a little less afraid. I do not need a perfect map now, or a bold and blazing sign. Only this feeling at the crosswalk, that some horizon might be mine. Even the light on second-hand windows makes the plainest building shine, as if the day is gently saying there is more than what is time. The sky feels possible today, and I feel something with it too. A little room behind my thinking, a little farther I can move. The sky feels possible today, as if the world is pulled apart, just enough to show some distance, just enough to lift the heart. So I'll carry this loose blue feeling through the list and through the noise, like a note tucked in my jacket, like a steadier kind of choice. The sky feels possible today, and maybe so do I.
Days along the windowsill lean slowly toward the palest light. It does not ask the day for proof, it simply meets the morning right. The chair still holds last evening's sweater, the mug has left a little ring. Nothing here is trying to dazzle, still everything is quietly becoming, growing without the rush. There is a grace in taking time. Roots do not make a sound beneath us, still they gather what they find, growing without the rush. No later I will some things open like a held breath, some things ripen out of sight. I have worn the clock too closely, like it knew my worth by name. Counted days and sharpened numbers, turned soft progress into blame. But the trees beyond the railing have never hurried once with a deeper kind of green, growing without the rush. There is a wisdom in the slow. Not every change is meant for showing. Not every strength is meant to glow. Growing without the rush, a quieter way to come alive. Like morning warming up the floorboards by degrees we barely mind. The world may love a sudden entrance, a bride before and after line, but most of what has kept me going has grown in smaller, steadier signs. A thought that no longer cuts so sharply, a door I do not fear to knock, a little more room inside my breathing, a little less war with the clock, going without the rush. Let the hours be kind and wide. I am not missing my own season. I am arriving from inside, growing without the rush. No need to bloom on demand. Even now I'm learning strength in ways that do not need applause to stand. So let the morning move around me at its unremarkable pace. I do not need to force my branches. I can still become with grace, growing without the rush. That may be all I need to know. The truest things I am becoming are the ones that take it slow. The morning doesn't make comparison. It lays its light where it can land, on the corner of the bookshelf, on the cooling mug on my hand. Outside the traffic has its language, fast and certain, thin and bright. But in here the floorboards keep a slower, more forgiving kind of time. I'm allowed to take my time to let the day come into view. Not every life was meant to follow the loudest rhythm in the room. I'm allowed to take my time to move in ways that fit my name. There is nothing wrong with steady, nothing lost in going plain. I have worn other people's timing, like a jacket cut too tight, calling slowness hesitation, calling quiet a lesser light. But the kettle never rushes, still it reaches what it needs. And the vine beside the window finds its shade by patient green. I'm allowed to take my time, to leave some space between each thought, to trust that what is mine will meet me, even if it isn't caught. I'm allowed to take my time, not behind, not out of place. Some roads ask for softer footsteps, some hearts open at their pace. There are days I feel the pressure like a hand upon my back, but I am learning not to turn that into proof of what I lack. I can answer in my own hour, I can pause before I choose. I can build a life that breathes a little, rather than one that only moves. I'm allowed to take my time and still belong inside the day. Still be worthy, still be growing, still be making my own way. I'm allowed to take my time, and maybe how I make it through, with a calmer pulse beneath me and a clearer sense of truth. So let the morning keep its gentleness, let the window stay half wide. I don't need to match the world's speed to feel alive inside. I'm allowed to take my time, and maybe that is where I start, not by racing toward the future, but by walking with my heart. Thought the only way was tightening, holding every loose thread still, wearing pressure like a clean white shirt buttoned high against the chill. I called kindness hesitation, I called rest a borrowed thing, as if gentleness would somehow take the weight out of my wings. But I was softer than I thought, and softer did not make me weak. It made a little room for breathing, it gave a quieter truth to speak. Softer than I thought, and somehow standing all the same, not falling back, not disappearing, just walking forward without blame. This morning laid a hand on everything, the table, kettle, window frame, even light arrived unguarded, and nothing here was ashamed. So I sat down with my reflection, not to fix it, not to fight, just to let the face I live in have a less demanding light. I was softer than I thought, and softer carried me this far, not with sparks or hard-edged answers, but like the hush between the stars. Softer than I thought, and still able to begin. Maybe mercy is not a detour, maybe that's where strength has been. I know the world can praise the sharper, the voice that never bends or waits, but some doors only open inward, some healing has a quieter way. Like loosening a knot in silence, like warm water on cold hands, like speaking to myself more plainly in words my heart can understand. softer than I thought, and that softness helped me stay through the long and private weather, through the hours I could not name. Softer than I thought, not less brave, but less at war. And with that small change in the spirit, I could reach a little more. So if I move with kinder edges, if I leave some room to heal, that does not mean I've lost my courage. It may mean I've found the real. I was softer than I thought, and softer let the morning in. Now even this unfinished version feels like somewhere I can live. This morning I didn't rehearse my worries, didn't lace them up like shoes. I let the mirror keep its silence, chose a kinder point of view. I answered one small message honestly. I took my time before I spoke. I left the door a little open for air that doesn't have to be controlled. Braver in small ways, that's how it starts in me. Not a headline, not a hard crusade, just a quiet shift I keep. Braver in small ways, a softer kind of spine. All these tiny yeses stacking up, turning into something mine. I walked past the old familiar gout, the one that says don't even try. And though it followed like a shadow, I didn't let it jive. I made one choice that felt like breathing, not like proving I belong. A single step toward what is steady, a simple act that stayed strong. Braver in small ways, not loud enough for anyone to see. The courage doesn't always glitter, sometimes it's private history. Braver in small ways, the slowest way to grow. Like a river changing stone by touch, like light that keeps on showing. I stopped apologizing for rusting. I didn't call my limits wrong. I let myself be unfinished and still kept moving on. I said no without a heavy story. I said yes without a rush. I let my hands unclench a little and trusted that it was enough. Braver in small ways, each ordinary morning choice. The calm reply, kinder boundary, a clearer use of voice. Braver in small ways, I'm learning as I go. The person I'm becoming isn't built by one big fearless moment, but by moments I don't let go. So if today looks simple on the surface, if no one notices the change, I'll still count it as a
I used to seal the morning tightly, curtains drawn, opinions set, keeping every thought in straight lines so nothing new could enter yet. But today the air feels different. There's a looseness in the frame, a passing sound, a cooler current, and I don't need to name it change. Keep the window open just a little, just enough. Let the outside find the inside without turning either one upside up. Keep the window open Something new does not need pushing. Sometimes it arrives that easily. A neighbor laughs across the alley. A bicycle rolls through the light. Someone's radio in the distance brings a rhythm soft and bright. None of it was mine to plan for. Still it colors what I hear. Like the day knows small revisions can make a heavy mind more clear. Keep the window open just a little, just enough. You don't have to chase the future to let it brush against your thoughts. Keep the window open, let the silence shift its shape. There are kinds of hope that enter like clean air through a narrow space. Know the habit of protection, the careful lock, the inward gaze. But not every open moment has to end in something breaking. Some things come as simple weather, a better question, a lighter view, a sentence you are not expecting that somehow sounds a bit like truth. Keep the window open even when the room feels known. There are parts of you still waiting for a breeze to call them home. Keep the window open just enough to let life in, not to lose what you have gathered, only to let it move again. So I'll leave a little distance between my certainty and me, and let the morning cross the threshold with its quiet generosity. Keep the window open, that may be all I need to do. The fresh air does not ask permission, it only asks for room to move.
Morning settles on the cupboard in quiet stripes of golden cream. The cup beside the folded dish towel looks more ordinary to me. I have spent so long in tally marks, counting all I have not become, measuring this unfinished life against a louder kind of someone. But nothing is missing here, not in this breath, not in these hands. There is more already with me than I always let myself understand. Nothing is missing here, not everything is still unknown. But I have warmth, I have a heartbeat, I have ways of making this feel like home. The chair still leans the way I left it. The floor remembers where I stand. The window opens without asking and lays the morning in my hands. There is a steadiness in small things, a kind of wealth that does not shine. The way I know which board will answer, the way this quiet room knows mine. And nothing is missing here, not in the calm, not in the plain. There is enough to start with gently, enough to carry through the day. Nothing is missing here, even if some dreams are late. Life does not begin with everything, it gathers meaning as we wait. I have a voice that still can soften, a mind that still can change its frame, a body that has brought me this far, a soul that still responds to grace. I have survived more than I mentioned, I have learned where light likes to fall. people held inside me even when they do not call. Nothing is missing here, not in the cracks, not in the seams. Even the parts I thought were lacking have taught me how to hold my dreams. Nothing is missing here, not in this unfinished view. I am not standing at an empty table. I am surrounded by what is true. So let the morning stay simple, let the day arrive without demand. I do not need a grander version to honor all I already am. Nothing is missing here, maybe that is how I begin. Not by chasing what is absent, but by finally seeing what I'm in. No ribbon cut across the doorway, no bright parade outside the room. Just a pale line on the tabletop and the kettle thinking into bloom. The house is slow to name the morning. A floorboard speaks then settles down. Some beginnings do not introduce themselves, they simply change the air around. Let it begin quietly, like a light learning where to stay. No need to force a grand arrival. Soft things can still reshape a day. Let it begin quietly, with a hand around a warming cup. The world does not need your thunder to know that something new woke up. I used to wait for bigger signals, a sudden yes, a flawless sign, as if a life could only open with drums and banners at the line. But all the roots below the garden break the ground without a sound, and every morning worth believing starts before it can be crowned. Let it begin quietly, in the space before the street, in the moment your breath stops bracing and your thoughts sit down more gently. Let it begin quietly, not unfinished, not too small. There is strength in an open window, there is power in a softer call. A page turned over on the counter, a chair pulled nearer to the sun, a mind that doesn't rush to judge itself. These are ways the day is won. No one may see the shift occur, no one may mark the hour or place, but calm can be a kind of courage, and stillness can prepare the change. Let it begin quietly, like rain touching summer dust, like a door unlatching inward, like a room deciding to trust. Let it begin quietly, and let that be enough to start. Not every new thing enters blazing. Some arrive and steady the heart. So I will not despise the softness, or call it less because it's small. The gentlest start can carry farther than the loudest start at all. Let it begin quietly, here with whatever I can bring. A little hope, a little breathing, and that will be a reason. Used to check the room for answers in the corners in the glass, waiting for some louder signal to tell me which way I should pass. I treated every small decision like a door I had to fear, as if one wrong turn in the morning could make the whole day disappear. But today I trust myself, this quiet mind, these steady hands, not because I know the ending, but because I know where I stand. Today I trust myself in little choices, soft and clear. There's a path that starts to show itself when I stop doubting why I'm here. The blue shirt hanging by the window, the second cup, the slower pace, a message left until later. More air, more light around my day. Nothing shining, nothing perfect, still I feel the difference now, like a compass made of small things, turning gently, showing how. Today I trust myself, this living heart, this human way. I don't need to force the horizon, I can find it choice by choice today. Today I trust myself, even if the road is thin. Some directions only meet you once you finally walk within. I have spent enough on second guessing, enough on borrowed points of view. There is wisdom in my noticing, in what feels calm and clean and true. Like when to speak and when to soften, when to leave a space alone, when to take one honest step without demanding to be sure. Today I trust myself, not every answer has to land. Sometimes faith is simply reaching for the life that fits your hands. Today I trust myself, and something in me settles straight. Not loud, not bold, not grandly certain, just quietly aligned with day. So I'll let the morning hold me as I move from thing to thing, trusting that my smallest choices teach me where my voice begins. Today I trust myself, and that is more than I once knew. The road does not appear all at once, it opens where I choose.
You check the morning like a mirror for every trace you meant to hide. The tired edge, the quiet doubt, the ways you think you fell behind. You hold yourself to narrow measures, count the things you did not do, while missing all the steady evidence of how this life keeps moving through you. You're doing better than you know, more than your tired mind will show, in all the ways that don't make noise, in all the days you still got through. You're doing better than you know, even here, even slow. Heart you think is barely holding has carried more than you give it credit for. There's a coffee ring beside the notebook, a half-answered text, a made bed, 1,000 small unphotographed things that say more than the voice inside your kept the plant alive by the window. You showed up when it would have been easier not to. You learned how to keep a softer balance between what hurts and what stays true. You're doing better than you know, more than your worried thoughts allow. Now everything strong looks striking, some of it just looks like now. You're doing better than you know. In the plain light of this room, the fact that you are still becoming is its own kind of bloom. I know you wanted clearer progress, a cleaner line from there to here, but most real change is almost private. It happens close, it happens near. Like how your breathing found more space, like how one hard thing doesn't last all day, like how you speak to yourself sometimes with a little less weight. You're doing better than you know, though the proof may not be loud. Someday surviving with your kindness is more than enough to make me proud. You're doing better than you know, even if it feels unsure. You are not failing at your life, you are learning how to hold it more. So let this morning be a witness to all the good you do not name, the way you keep on tending gently, the way you stay when days are strange. You're doing better than you know, and maybe one day you will see the person you kept trying to become has been arriving quietly to leave.
It doesn't always look like thunder or a voice that fills the room. Sometimes courage wears the morning and moves in softer shades of blue. A hand that reaches for the curtain, a breath that doesn't turn away, a quiet yes beneath the surface that helps the heart rejoin the day. A calm kind of courage, steady in its own way, not loud enough to steal the light, but strong enough to shape the day. A calm kind of courage, gentle, clear and true, like choosing not to hide yourself when morning asks what love can do. I used to think that being fearless meant never bending with the wind, but there is strength in moving kindly, letting healing slowly in. The cup is warm against my fingers. The street begins its usual song, and somewhere in these small routines I feel a will to carry on. Courage, not borrowed, not performed, to the parts of me that ache, in the choice to keep the window open, though the air may shift and shake. It's in the patience of beginning, without demanding something grand, in trusting that a softer spirit can still become a steady hand. The calm kind of courage walks quietly beside me now. It does not rush to prove its power, it simply shows me how. A calm kind of courage can turn a life by degrees, like morning light across a floorboard, like roots at work beneath the leaves. So let me keep this form of bravery, the one that breathes instead of burns, the one that meets the day with openness and learns by how it turns. A calm kind of courage may be the truest kind I know. It doesn't shout that I am changing, it simply helps me go. The day begins without a hurry, a pale gold line along the floor. The room is still, the air is easy, nothing has to prove much more. I used to think that change meant motion, something obvious, something fast. But some of the truest kinds of moving are the ones built slow enough to last. Forward even slowly still means I am on my way. A quiet inch can hold more meaning than standing still for one more day. Forward even slowly counts in ways the eye can miss. The smallest shift in how I'm living can still become a different path than this. The kettle hums, the keys are waiting. A shoe turns slightly near the door. There's something kind about beginning, without demanding something more. No river carves the stone by rushing, no morning opens all at once. Light arrives in patient pieces, and still by noon the dark is gone. Forward even slowly still means something true is growing. Even if my steps are feather light, they are enough to keep me going. Forward even slowly, there is value in the pace. A softer speed can still take me somewhere I have never been. I don't need to call it failure, just because it's calm and small. A life can turn by gentle degrees and still become remarkable. Like learning not to brace so quickly, like choosing one thing that feels right, like trusting that a quieter effort can still move mountains out of day stay plain and open. Let my progress keep its tone. I am not late to my own becoming. I am simply coming home. Forward even slowly still means I am on my way, and that is more than enough for this gentle kind of day. The room is still half made of dreaming, a silver hush along the wall. The coffee hasn't found its language. The house is barely stirred at all. I used to wake up like a warning, braced against what might go wrong, pulling on the weight of hours before the day had even dawned. But I'll meet the day gently, like opening a window wide. Not to surrender, not too hard, and just to let some breathing in inside. I'll meet the day gently with unguarded hands and steadier eyes. Not everything needs to be conquered, some things just need a kinder light. The spoon rings softly in the mug now, a small and ordinary shine. The morning lays its plain approval across the counter, across the time. There is no prize for rushing headlong, no medal for a tightened chest. And maybe peace is not avoidance, maybe peace can do its best. I'll meet the day gently without turning softness into shame. There is a strength that does not clench, there is a fire that does not flame. I'll meet the day gently and let that be my way of move, like water finding through the branches, like quiet feet inside new shoes. This can wait beside the notebook. The world can ask what it will ask. I do not need to wear my armor just to answer simple tasks. And a calm hand on the doorknob matters. A slower breath before I speak. A life can lean towards something better without becoming sharp or sleek. I'll meet the day gently, that may be all I need to know. Not every good thing enters loudly, some arrive and help me grow. I'll meet the day gently and trust the hours as they come. A softer start can still hold courage, a softer heart can still get things done. So let the morning stay unbroken, let it find me as I am. Not a fighter on a threshold, just a person learning how to stand. I'll meet the day gently, and somewhere in that quiet choice, the world feels less like something against me and more like something I can enjoy. I used to search the far horizon for some sign with my name on it, a brighter road, a cleaner feeling, something distant I could trust. I thought hope lived past the rooftops, somewhere out beyond this room, past the half-done list, the dishes, past the ordinary afternoon. But the light is already here, in the breath I nearly missed, in the hand still reaching forward, in the life I'm living in like this. The light is already here, not waiting on some later day. It moves inside the smallest kindness and quietly shows me the way. The curtain lifts a little gold up, the floor begins to hold the sun. Nothing dramatic, nothing borrowed, still the morning has begun. Maybe that is how it enters, not as a voice that shakes the sky, but as a softening in the chest, a steadier and clear eye. The light is already here, in the places I called plain, in the heart that keeps on opening after weather, after rain. The light is already here, not perfect, not complete, not loud, but warm enough to change the color of the thoughts I'm wearing now. I have spent enough on waiting for the version with no fear, but courage may be something smaller, just staying open while it's here, like choosing not to turn away from the good I almost miss, like letting one kind thought stay longer, like trusting there is more than this. The light is already here, in the part of me that stays, in the quiet will to keep becoming in these tender human ways. The light is already here, closer than I thought to look, written in my way of starting, not in some unwritten book. So I will not call this empty, I will not say I've come too late. There is brightness in the breathing, there is hope inside the weight. The light is already here, and maybe it has always been, waiting in my own reflection, for me to finally let it in.
The evening used to make me restless, Like every unsolved thing grew tall, shadows stretching across the kitchen, questions leaning down the hall. I thought peace had to arrive clearly, with every loose end neatly tied. But some answers take the long way and still come home in time. We'll be alright in time, even if the shape is still unknown. Not every thread needs pulling tonight. Some things settle when they're left alone. We'll be alright in time. More than this moment lets us see, the heart can live beside uncertainty and still keep good company. The dishes dry beside the window, the street grows quiet, one light at a time. Somewhere a train keeps moving outward, somewhere a clock forgets to remind. There is mercy in the unspoken, in letting the day release its claim, and trusting what is still becoming does not need a final name. We'll be alright in time, even if the path is blurred and thin. There are gentler hands than ours at work in the slow rearranging. We'll be alright in time, not because nothing ever bends, but because life has a way of mending without announcing where it ends. I've seen mornings come from heavy weather, seen cold rooms turn warm again, seen the mind let go by inches, seen the tightest thought unthread. So tonight I'll leave some space around it. I won't force the dark to speak, I'll let silence do its patient turn, and I'll let rest undo the weak. We'll be alright in time, that may be all we need to know. The future does not always answer, sometimes it simply starts to glow. We'll be alright in time, and until then let this be enough. A quiet room, a steady breathing, a little faith, a little love. So if the pieces still feel scattered, let them be where they have fallen. Time has a careful kind of wisdom, and it is already calling. We'll be alright in time, not all at once, but true. And when the morning finds us softer, we'll know it carried us through.